made USAA insurance for veterans like Liz and Mike when they got a bigger car for their soon-to-be bigger family. USAA helped them get covered and find savings.
That was the easy part.
USAA, what you're made of, we're made for.
You're listening to Broncos for Breakfast with Nick Kendall and Scott Kennedy. Head on over to milehighhuddle.com for all things Broncos. Good morning, Broncos country.
Can't get all five at once. I don't know what to do there.
Different platforms, different companies. It just gives you a good idea who's running faster response times too. That's a technical test right there.
Well, there we go. All five, and we are good to go. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Thursday, everyone, and welcome into an episode of Broncos for Breakfast. I am your host, Nicholas Kendall, and joined today, once again, as almost always, with my good friend and co-host, Scott Kennedy. Scott, how you doing on this fine day?
I'm doing good. It doesn't feel like Thursday already. I had to like recheck. When you get in late on a Sunday night and kind of sleep through Monday, the week tends to go fast. So it's Thursday already. We're knocking on the door of the weekend. So lots of people coming in. Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, we got Muhammad. Good morning to you. Good morning, gentlemen, says Muhammad with a $5 super, kicking us off right. Good on a Thursday morning. Thank you so much. I do not have my coffee yet because I have some guests that flew in from Chicago yesterday. Picked them up at 11 o'clock. So I'm a little tired, but I'm doing well. So I'm going to need that coffee, but they're big coffee aficionados. So I'm going to save it for when they get here because you're in Seattle, right? You got to drink some coffee.
Yeah,
Scott,
sure.
You're going to have to drink double for me on that one. And Muhammad also saying good morning to Broncos country. EJ in the house saying good morning, Nick and Scott and Broncos country. Jeremy, the Kirk Cousins lookalike. I always like to give him a hard time there. Good morning, fellas. Dave Glassman in the house. Dave, it's a little early for those beers, although I think in Germany they drink beer for breakfast because they drink the lighter ones. So
it's maybe not early. It's mid-afternoon. You can go and have your beer and then a little siesta. The problem with me drinking beer early in the day was it always led to beers like 17, 18, and 19. Yeah. So I never saw the end of the day. I just saw it was not good. That's why we stick to coffee these days.
Man, I don't want to get into how early I've had some adult beverages in my college days, prepping for the Iowa Hawkeye games. 11 o'clock kickoffs too.
Yeah, you're usually rolling in at 9 o'clock in the morning. You're like, okay, let's go. U.S. Dave, buenos dias.
Good to see you, U.S. Dave. That's not very U.S. Dave of you to say. No, I'm just kidding. We speak Americanese here. Clayton Huron coming in here. Morning, guys. EJ saying, I'm hungry. What's for breakfast, guys? We're going to talk a little bit of Melvin Gordon versus Javonte Williams because we both have some takes there to get into. So that'll be fun. And then Dave Glassman says, think of it more as me saying cheers. Well, either way, Prost to you. I guess I got to get that in because the Germans lost. Shout out to all our English listeners as well. Good game. First time England's beaten Germany in tournament play, and Germany had bad form all tournament, but England, man, I'm pulling for you guys.
Germany's in a right now. I mean, we could. I don't want to talk too much about this. We could do that later. Y'all can hit me up on other formats. But Germany got bounced out of the World Cup early fairly recently. It's not a great cycle for them right now.
Nope, I think it's time to move on from Joachim Low, but is what it is. They just bad form, bad style. One of my best friends is German, and he hates him. I hear it constantly, daily, about how much Joachim Low is terrible. So, U.S. Dave saying 10 miles from Mexico here in Arizona. Okay, you'll get a pass there, buddy.
Yeah, you're not hearing nearly as much English then there as Espanol.
Ophir coming in. Good to see you again. It's been a bit. I think Melvin loses the job by week 9 or 10, and Clayton getting us down to the matters of business here. Smash the like button, guys. And that means I should probably get going here. Guys, this is Broncos for Breakfast. Make sure you follow Scott and I on Twitter. Myself at Nick Kendall and Scott at Scout Kennedy. While you're over on Twitter, also follow us at Mile High Huddle and at Huddle Up Pod. Smash that like button. As Clayton said so kindly there. Thank you very much, Clayton, for giving us a shout out there. Smash the like button. I only see 3 on Facebook right now. Now it's 4. Good job. Good job, Scott. I see you coming in, Scott Squires. But while you guys are over on Facebook, make sure you also go to facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod, as well as facebook.com/Mile High Huddle. Facebook's probably our number 2 way to watch us. If you guys are watching us there, thank you very much. Also, shout out to Periscope and Twitch folks. But number 1 is YouTube. And if you are joining us on YouTube today, please subscribe, like, and share. It's the second best way you can support the show outside of the monetary super chats, which we always do appreciate. Shout out to Muhammad so far for coming in with that one. Appreciate you, buddy. Yeah, make sure you subscribe, like, and share. And let's get the wheels off the ground here. A couple more chats coming in here. We got
We made USAA insurance for veterans like Liz and Mike. When they got a bigger car for their soon-to-be bigger family, USAA helped them get covered and find savings.
That was the easy part.
USAA, what you're made of, we're made for.
The economy is made up of real people doing real stuff, and it affects everything. Which you obviously know since you're a real person doing real stuff. Marketplace is here to help you get smart about everything beyond the what of the day's business and economic news. We dig into the how and the why with the real people driving our economy. From big tech and interest rates to small businesses and what's happening at the Fed. Marketplace breaks it all down so you don't have to. Listen to Marketplace wherever you get your podcasts.
Alejandro, the Lady Gaga song, right? Good morning, Broncos country. Good morning to you, Alejandro. Good to see you, buddy. We got Jeremy saying Jack Grealish is a difference maker for England. Yeah, he's pretty good. I'm pulling for them, although I am pulling for Denmark.
You guys have convinced me. We're gonna do a 10 a.m. Does this time work for everybody? Because we could do 11, but the game start at noon. I want to do a 10 a.m. over on my channel. We'll talk Euros if that works. And EJ, this is Stamford Bridge. I took this picture in November or December. I think I went right after Thanksgiving. Like we left Friday after Thanksgiving, so it could be November or December that I took this picture. So it's Stamford Bridge, London, England. So let's do on my channel tomorrow. Nick, you interested? Or since you have people in town, or I can go solo with all the people. We'll do a football for breakfast on my channel tomorrow at 10, and that way we won't have to talk any more international football here.
That sounds good. It's so fun. I always enjoyed it. I used to work at a summer school where it was kind of for underprivileged kids, and a lot of them were of Latin descent. So we'd have FIFA tournaments, and man, so much fun. That really actually got me into soccer. So also, guys, on youtube.com while you're there, follow Scott, youtube.com/C/Scott Kennedy. And I'm going to drop the auto sub here also in the chat. If you guys just click that link, it'll take you there. And Scott always has good content. If you guys want to follow him, go talk the Euros with him or football. I mean, man of many interests, and baseball too. I got sorry guys, they're not playing very well this year, but I got my retro Cardinals. Jersey on
you're not old enough to remember that team. That was a heck of a team though. That was old ball. That was old school baseball with Vince Coleman, Terry Pendleton, and Willie McGee.
Ozzie Smith.
That was a good Cardinals team.
One of my good friends.
Yes, 10 a.m. Eastern. Same time tomorrow. Jeremy, question. I'll put it out on Twitter. Just say, yeah, we'll preview some Euros, and even if there's the four of us that are in here talking, hey, I'll do it. So that'd be good for me.
Yeah, no. One of my good friends, but back to the Cardinals. He dated for a long time Whitey Herzog's granddaughter. So we got some tickets a lot of times. So that was a lot of fun. Tommy's in the house. Greg Smith is in the house. Scott Squires is in the house. Thank you for the like, Scott. Timothy DePhillips is in the house. Timothy D. Phillips, but more fun to say DePhillips. What's up, guys? I like Javante as running back one. That'll be fun. We'll get into that in just a second. We want to say hello to everybody. Matthew Beatty's in the house over on Facebook saying subscribe all around. Thank you very much, Matthew. Stephen Barr's in the house. Good afternoon, Broncos for breakfast. Hit those like buttons. We have 8 on the Facebook side. I know we can do better. Steven's the most recent one, so we appreciate you, Steven. Robert Caslow's in the house. King of the Superstars coming in here. Gary Leeds Palmer, always dropping stars over on Facebook. He says, morning, Nick and Scott and Broncos country. Thank you so much. That's really helpful. Tommy saying Landon Donovan got him into soccer. Robert Caslow saying is baseball a real sport? Well, as much of a real sport as a frozen stickball out there with those hockey guys, man. I don't want to say that too loud. A lot of those Seattle fans, man, they are hardcore about their Kraken coming in here. And so, Timothy,
I've always had there needs to be some sort of cardiovascular at play. You have to be able to work up your lungs for it to be a sport. Yeah. So therefore, golf is a game. It's an incredibly skilled game, but I don't necessarily consider it a sport. Baseball, yeah, there's still some running involved. So otherwise, it could be considered more like croquet. But no, there's still some running involved. So I call baseball a sport. Especially When you watch some of those guys circle the bases at Mach 3 and run down plays, and absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're talking about athleticism, I mean, Peyton wasn't the greatest athlete, but he's one of the best quarterbacks of all time. So there's different ways. Jeremy Sean coming in here, just to be clear, 10 a.m. Eastern. I think that is correct for Scott doing the Euros discussion. 10 o'clock Eastern, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. My channel tomorrow, 10 o'clock, the same time. This time seems to work. So we'll do it on Friday on my channel, and we'll talk Euros leading up to the quarterfinals. There's 2 games tomorrow. Now let's get to some football.
Absolutely.
Broncos football.
Thank God.
Because I'm ADD enough that you start throwing out topics, and we'll be talking Tommy Boy on here in a minute. So let's get back on track.
All-time favorite movie, Scott. Go. No, okay. So the Broncos, they have a lot of positions that are deep this year that are going to be a lot of fun position battles. And we talked about that last Tuesday as well, or this past Tuesday as well, with the cornerback position. We didn't get as much into the depth because the top 4 or 5 are so fun. But one of the positions that really, and we talked like patience for Patrick Surtain, what they're going to do with Bryce Callahan, patience for Michael Ojemudia, Kerry Vincent Jr., running back. That's a position you don't have time for patience. The best year of a running back, a lot of times, or their most valuable season, is either their first or second year in the league, while they still have a lot of tread on the tires. And you can see running backs gain skills in the passing game and pass protection. But really, their rookie season, there's not much of a learning curve. They're as good as they're going to be right out the gate. So the Broncos this past year traded up to the equivalent of a late first-round pick in value to pick 35 overall. Yes, correct. And selected running back from University of North Carolina, Javonte Williams, part of a really good running back duo for the Tar Heels this last year with Michael Carter Jr. as well. And that while the Broncos needed a running back long-term, they still have a very highly paid, very talented running back in Melvin Gordon on this team. Last year, the Broncos offense, the last 6 weeks of the year, 7 weeks of the year, if you don't count the Saints game with Kendall Hinton playing quarterback, Melvin Gordon was that offensive MVP. I mean, he was running great. He was picking up chunks. He was protecting the football. He's a good pass protector. He's a decent receiver. But the Broncos go up and get a running back early in the second round, and one of my favorite running backs in this entire class as well. So what do we make of this? There's only one ball. The running backs, you're not going to play 2 on the field, hopefully, not in this economy. Mm-hmm. So how does this fall apart? How does this break down? Because I don't know what they're going to do. I really don't.
Oh, I think it's easy. Honestly, I do. I don't think there's even that much of a debate here. I think they're gonna get fairly split carries fairly evenly. 17 games.
Well, I don't know if you guys did
I lose you here?
Yep, it froze for a second. You're good. You're back.
Okay. I was gonna say I think it's fairly easy actually. I don't think it's too difficult. In that, let me shut this one off here real quick. The Broncos depth chart one is auto playing videos in the background, so we're going to close that one since we're just talking here. But we're talking 17 games. There's 450 carries basically that go between running backs. Melvin Gordon, I think, if you look at his numbers the last few years, when in his heyday he was 254 carries in 16, 284 in 17. Last year he had 215. And he had the second best yards per carry average of his career. So he's going on. He'll turn 28 this year in this season. He's wise enough now to understand the idea of lengthening his career. The players are smart enough to understand the idea of splitting carries and lengthening their careers. Javonte Williams just came out of a system where he had almost the same identical carries as Michael Carter at UNC. They get it these days. We've talked so much wear and tear on running backs that they understand, for me to be my best, I need a co-pilot here. I need a partner. So I don't necessarily think of them as who beats this guy out or who beats that guy out. What for me, the conversation becomes, how can they be effective together? How do they differ? Where can they be used in different situations? And what makes them, how can they complement each other? Because for me, it's 1A, 1B. If we've got a starter, so to speak, you go with Gordon to start. He's the first one out there. He's the seasoned vet, former Pro Bowler. But I expect them to be really, really close. I mean, at worst, 55% to 45% on total carries by week 17.
Yeah, that's a good comment, and you don't really have the bell cow. I think that's kind of like the true 5-tool 3-down linebacker of the day. It's maybe a little bit of a dying breed, and you're going to have to shift a little bit as the game changes, and that's very true for having 2 running backs. I do think it's interesting for the Broncos, and maybe this is more because of the style of offense that Pat Shurmur runs, with a lot of power schemes, a lot of inside zone, that the Broncos don't have a dichotomized skill set at running back. They don't really have a thunder and lightning. It's more thunder and more thunder, which is, fine, especially with how much those running backs are going to be asked to make the first guy miss and be strong at the point of attack. Not that wide zone where they have to beat guys to the edge, right? You're not going to see much of that in Denver this season. So I'm really excited to see Williams and Gordon. I do want to get into them. You were definitely scouting when Melvin Gordon was at Wisconsin, correct?
Not as much. But I've been watching a little bit more in the pros.
Okay.
So I didn't see him, and I didn't watch that much Wisconsin.
Oh man.
Nope. I was watching a lot of SEC and Pac-12, where I lived out west. So I wasn't watching Melvin Gordon enough beyond just the basic numbers. But
yeah,
Wisconsin almost becomes a little bit like the Denver Broncos. It's like, oh, Wisconsin guy put up a big numbers.
Tears for me.
and so what? Yes, it happens. Oh, he ran a lot. So, but watching those guys, to me, one of the big differences is Melvin Gordon has learned how to set up his blocks. He's one of, you normally say, okay, hit the hole, but he's one who can hesitate, shift, and then find a hole. Where right now, Javonte Williams is that I'm going to attack the line of scrimmage right now. And, there's something to be said for both of those guys. It takes an incredible amount of confidence in yourself to be patient back there as a running back and then go through. But you were talking about, the thunder and lightning. I've said for 20 years, if you take this comment out of context, I'm going to sound like a moron, but speed is overrated. Okay. So Melvin Gordon at a 4.6, maybe, at this age, where are his long runs coming from? They're coming after he breaks the first line of defense. And by the time the back 7 linebackers or even secondary, by the time they're crashing down and have to turn to catch him, he's got 50, 60 yards.
Yeah.
That is so much more valuable than a guy who is a 4.35, 4.4 guy, but can't break a tackle. Those guys don't break long runs. If you can get them in space, then they can do some things. But they're not breaking many long runs out of the backfield. The defenses are too good. You've got to be able to break a tackle. Melvin Gordon is very, very good, very confident in being able to set up his blocks and find a hole and get his yards. And he's going to break some big long runs despite his lack of breakaway speed because he's going to break tackles.
Yeah, this name might ring a bell to Broncos country, but talking about running backs with all the speed in the world, but always just can't get by that first guy, get tripped up by the first sign of contact. Tatum Bell. Tatum Bell was a running back. I think the Broncos took him in the 3rd round. This would have been in the mid-2000s. And, man, that guy, when he would hit the open field, he was gone. He could cook. But he just had no physicality, no balance to his game. And because of that, there's a lot of 2-yard gains, 1-yard gains. So it was you want to have that balance. You want to have that power. And talking about Melvin Gordon there, man, he does have a good game there, a complete back. He can hit home runs. He's not going to run away from guys, but like you said, because he can make a guy miss in the hole or with good vision as well, he's kind of a slasher, so to speak. And you made a great point. I really enjoy his style where it was different than Phillip Lindsay, who would just explode and he didn't have to press the line of scrimmage the same because he would run a lot, especially when the Broncos were running with a fullback. He could just find a gap, and then once he squirted through that hole, giddy up, off to the races, he could be gone. But that's not really the same for Gordon.
And I learned this, in roughly 2000, so we're talking 21 years ago, where I really started paying attention to the nuances of the game. University of Georgia had a guy named Musa Smith. I think he ended up getting drafted by the Ravens. I'm not positive, but he was everything you could look at physically. 6 foot, 220 pounds, running in the 4.4s. But if you hit his shoelaces, he was down. Yeah. So he had like a career average of like 4, 3.5. Meanwhile, down 100 miles southwest of there, Rudy Johnson's playing for Auburn, who runs a 4.8 downhill with the wind blowing. And his average touchdown run, and he had like 16 or 17 in 2000, his average touchdown run was like 27 yards. because he was a roly-poly. I mean, you just watch these guys. He's this big round dude, and guys would just slide off him, and then he'd run for touchdowns, scramble in it at his 4.7 speed. And then he had a nice career with the Cincinnati Bengals. So there's something to be said, and it's because you can't measure it. You can't measure heart. Yeah, you can't measure balance either. But the balance, you can see it. It's there. When you see these guys getting pushed out of bounds because guys just keep moving them over and over and over farther as they slide down them, and the next guy keeps coming off, and then he's standing on the sidelines with a trail of 4 defenders behind him who couldn't tackle him, and he flips the ball in. That's the guy with balance. Those are the guys that are always bouncing off him. And that vision are the two most underrated and important factors of a running back. And Melvin Gordon has it in spades.
Yeah, it's the one who, when you're really talking about leaving a trail of guys behind him, as far as missed tackles and whatnot, Alvin Kamara. That's who I think of. Watching him at Tennessee, I was a proponent of a lot of Broncos country because of the name, but they wanted to trade up from 20 to like the top 5 to take Christian McCaffrey, who's a great player. I didn't want to do that because he's a running back. But I was like, Christian McCaffrey, he's great. This Alvin Kamara guy is being mocked in day 2, and he's going to be incredible. And luckily, sometimes you hit, and when you hit, you want to make sure you're your own biggest supporter there. But Alvin Kamara, that's the name who comes to mind there. He's a. Did you watch Family Guy ever? Was that
Family Guy to me was like The Office. I started watching it and then I binged it, and like a little bit of that goes a long way. Yeah. Like after 3 episodes of seeing how stupid Peter Griffin was, I couldn't take it anymore. Okay. So I didn't watch it anymore. It's like that's how I was with The Office. I'm like, uncomfortable comedy makes me uncomfortable. Okay. So watching Michael make everybody in the room uncomfortable was cringy to me. I didn't like it. So no, okay. I didn't watch much of The Family Guy.
Well, Alvin Kamara kind of reminds me of the bit that is the greased up deaf guy, because they can't get him. They're just sliding off of him.
This episode is brought to you by HP Plus. In a world full of smart devices, shouldn't your printer be smart too? It is with HP Plus. These printers know when they're running low, so you always get the ink you need delivered right when you need it. Plus, you save up to 50% on ink, so you can print whatever you want, as much as you want, anytime you want. Huh, that is pretty smart. Get 6 free months of instant ink when you choose HP Plus. Conditions apply. Visit hp.com/smart for details.
This episode is brought to you by the NBA. Witness mind-bending competition on the biggest stage between the best players in the world, a place where legends are made. It's impossible jumps that seem to freeze in midair, and spectacular steals that you didn't see coming. It's that one play that lasts seconds that you will talk about for the rest of your life. And let's face it, it's the unpredictability of it all, never knowing when the next big moment will happen. Huge wins and crushed dreams. It's the drama of it all. You just can't make this stuff up. That's the NBA. That's game. The NBA playoffs are happening right now. Don't miss all the action.
Dale, can't get rid of you either. No, just kidding. Please don't go away. We love you. $5 super coming in over on YouTube. Asked Nick last week, but he misunderstood. Well, with 17 weeks, don't you think the roster should be +2 or 3? I think the roster should be expanded. They did expand it last year because of the what's going on in the world. I don't think they reduced it this season, to my knowledge. So I guess it is expanded by 2 or 3, but I'd like to see it expanded even more. I bet you the NFLPA would like to see it expanded even more. More guys get jobs. You can get some more developmental guys on the roster as well. And also it means that you're not in the situation like the Broncos were with, hopefully not. I guess maybe it's possible that the whole quarterback room would be out. But I was going to say the Kendall Hinton situation. So I would definitely be for expanding the roster. It also means you can have more specialists on there. And the way the game's going, it's very specialized in skill set, from wide receiver, cornerbacks. You can get some more special teams aces on there. I would be all about that. I know that the NFL maybe wouldn't, because it means they're paying more guys. And they want to, those owners want to hold on to that money as much as they can. But I think it would be a better product. So they should definitely lean into that.
Yeah, I would like to see the roster expanded too. You don't have to pay your players in college, so that's different. But 85 scholarships carry 100. And you can bring guys in and out a little bit. With the NFL. So in essence, it's a little easier. But if a guy gets hurt, I don't necessarily just want to see him waived. Hold on to him a little bit, even if he's a fringe guy. I'd like to see the rosters a little bigger too. When you start talking about having one backup here, one backup there, This is a dangerous game. I mean, you can be in a bad spot in a hurry in football with those small rosters. I mean, you're talking a 2 deep at best at every position is about it. You know, there's 44 guys, not counting special teams. Well, an injury, you're in trouble. You're really close from being in a lot of trouble. So I'd like to see them expanded as well.
Yeah, and Jeremy coming in saying your talk earlier about a guy with balance and vision, maybe not the best measurable athlete. Terrell Davis is a perfect example of what Scott was describing. And there's a 30 for 30 on Terrell Davis where he talks about that at Georgia, and you hear Mike Shanahan talk about it as well. And I think they even made like the cliche kind of corny reference to I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever I say bounces off and sticks on you. I think that's how they describe Terrell Davis's running style too, because he just wouldn't go down.
And what's interesting is, you were talking about Kamara, and I wasn't he's from Norcross. We talk about all this time, but you can look at a map, and I'll put a pin on where I live in Johns Creek. Norcross is 15 minutes the other direction. We've been talking about guys to the west of me. He's actually to the east of me. He's from Norcross. I wasn't that high on him. Alabama brought in 4 running backs that year. And I'm like, no, I'm not surprised that he was the one that transferred out. I thought he should have gone somewhere else. I didn't think he was as good as those guys. And I didn't think he had that great of a college career. He's been much better as a pro than I think he was as a college. Who does that remind me of? Terrell Davis. So sometimes that game, as crazy as it sounds, your game can translate better on the next level than even it can on the college level. If I'm running an Oregon offense, I want that speedy scat back guy, that I can get in space, because there is more space available in the college game. Watching highlights of Javonte Williams, I'm like, nobody's touching this guy. Meanwhile, Melvin Gordon is having to sift and find his way through all this because the defense there is so much better. And one may translate better on the next level. But Terrell Davis and Alvin Kamara are 2 guys that I think were better pros than amateurs. And that's another way to tie those 2 together. Can you tell the coffee's kicking in? I started right at kickoff here, so I'm good. I'm good to go now.
Oh man, I'm typically half a mug in at this point. Travis, good friend of mine. We're on a Facebook group together, and we go back quite a way. So good to see you, Travis. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Travis says, good morning, guys. Enjoy all the podcasts. Just taking a step back from yesterday, if the team does possibly get sold, which I do feel an owner is needed in place to give this team some stability, any ideas on who would be interested in buying the Broncos? I think that's one of those things that once the Broncos are officially listed as for sale, you're going to hear a lot of rumors and movement quickly. I don't think it's going to be something that's drawn out. I think there's a lot of interest for a lot of wealthy people to get in that club, but kind of like when we saw with the Panthers, like they were sold like that. So I think that'll be the case for the Broncos as well. As far as who it could be, I haven't heard any names. The one name that sticks out to me is Robert Smith, who is, I think, he's the wealthiest.
The Cure.
Robert F. Smith. I think he's the richest African-American in the United States. He's from Denver originally. So he's one, I think he's had some interest in the NFL before. I know he does have some tax evasion issues with the IRS in his past as well, but you point to a billionaire and it's probably the case. So
I've got so much money, I don't know where it all is. What do I owe you? Just give me a bill.
Just take it.
Just give me a bill.
Peter coming in here also, but I haven't heard anybody, Travis. When we do hear some names, we'll definitely talk about it, but I haven't heard anything other than pure speculation at this point. So Peter coming in saying, Scott and Nick with a smiley face. Good to see you, Peter. Charlie giving you a hard time about your office take, Scott. Hopefully we didn't lose some numbers here.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I don't. It's one of those unpopular opinions. That one, and I don't like Bruce Springsteen. Those are the 2 that I go against the norm on those. So, the boss. I'm like, not for me. So it's funny. It's watching some of the guys talk. They talk about one of the next owners is Jay-Z getting all his money together for possibly jumping into one of the big franchises. That I don't know if that fits in Denver, but you're going to start seeing names because the seller will start floating names out to generate interest, as to start building more buzz as well.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's a good point. I think all of a sudden we're going to see it a lot of movement. So we got Flippin' Booch saying good morning. Good morning to you, Flippin' Booch. Good to see you. Broncos World saying I never trusted Gordon. We'll get into that to a second. And we got, Miller 707's in the house as well. What up, Broncos fan? Finally made it. A morning show. Miller, good to see you, man. Nick and Scott, you guys rock. Go Broncos. Will Miller, you rock too. Speaking of rocking, Andrew Morrow's in the house as well. Good morning, y'all, and welcome back, Scott. Your perspective and analysis have been great this offseason. This is time to cross over from the red and black to the blue and orange.
I went to Auburn. That'll be easy. These are my colors. Yeah, I mean, we're surrounded by the colors, but no, I've joked before. When it comes to being a fan, I'm the biggest fan of me. So when we start going through Denver Broncos and I start giving my opinions and stuff and predictions during game season, I want them to be right. So I don't care about red and black or blue and orange at that point. When I start talking about different things, I want to be right. So that's who I'm rooting for. You don't have to worry about my allegiances.
Well, there you go. Benjamin saying he's got 5 on it. I'm not sure they're talking about the boss. You don't like the boss? What a curmudgeon. What a use of the word curmudgeon. That's one of my favorite words. I can tell you, and in the chat, I agree with you guys. 2 people that I do not want the Broncos to purchase the Broncos is Jeffrey Bezos. Because, I mean, I don't want the team to be playing on Mars. That's so far to go watch a game.
You know who would be similar to that, who has been a really, really good owner? Mark Cuban. You know, Mark Cuban would be the closest I could think of to a Bezos comparison. And Mark Cuban's been a terrific owner with the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, it's true.
So, you know, new money, highly invested, highly visible, which you don't always want from your owner. But, but Mark Cuban's been a great owner. So if Bezos could be an owner like that, you'd take him in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and the other one is Elon Musk, another person kind of in that vein for you. I think the big thing with both of those guys is you could see them, if Denver decides to want the owner to pay for the stadium, I could see those guys jettison the Broncos out of Denver like nothing, because they wouldn't care, right? They have no ties to Denver itself.
No, why would I do that? We make a living getting other people to pay for our stuff.
Yeah,
that's a different conversation, but I agree with you on that one. We're going to spend other people's money. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and also I don't need the Broncos to be changed to the Denver Doge. The Doge coins, whatever the heck that e-currency stuff going on there.
That's over my head, man. About as far as I can go is watching stocks. I don't understand e-currency, and I don't really even want to. It's kind of like cricket. I got nothing against cricket, but I don't have time to learn a new sport. So I haven't, even though it's incredibly popular. I haven't learned cricket, and I'm not going to learn e-currency either.
Well, there you go. Curmudgeon Scott at it again. No,
get off my lawn.
But Ben and Jerry, the ice cream, that'd be a good one. I'd be about Ben and Jerry's doing it. That'd be fun. But let's get back to the running backs here.
That.
You talked earlier about Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams being I've talked about them both being similar body types, but they are slightly different running backs. And I'm curious if you have any takes on what are some defining factors that differentiate the 2 running backs from each other.
For me, it's right as the point of attack. The biggest difference watching them for me is the point of attack, where yes, Melvin Gordon can hit the line of scrimmage. First get the ball and attack it. That's pretty much what Javonte Williams does. He's not developed enough as a running back where he's got that patience and he hasn't had to. To be fair, he's averaging 7.5 yards per carry at North Carolina. He hasn't had to develop the patience and the experience and the wiliness of a veteran running back in the NFL that Melvin Gordon has. So, Melvin can hit the hole and break a tackle, but he's also got the ability to stay back a little bit and let his blocks develop and let his teammates do a little bit more of the work for him. I don't think he's got that extra gear that Javonte Williams is going to have, and Javonte Williams can develop that patience. So you're talking about 2 different styles, but one that Javonte Williams could become. Javonte Williams could become more like Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon's not going to become more like Javonte Williams, if that makes sense.
Man, I'm really excited for Javonte Williams this year. Such a fun player. So physical. Almost maybe sometimes you'd say too physical. I guess sometimes buddy, I know it's the linebacker you're taking on. You don't have to lower your shoulder every single time. Maybe live for the next down. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. But Javonte Williams, do you expect him to? You said it was going to be 55-45, but Do you expect him by the end of the season to be the guy who gets that 55% compared to Melvin Gordon, or is it because of the veteran status, the money status for Melvin Gordon, that he will hold on to that slightly primary back?
I think by the time you're talking about a player who's in 13 or 14 games, he's not necessarily a veteran, but he's not a rookie anymore either. That's true. Yeah. He's gonna know the ropes. And by the time you're making a playoff run, baptized by fire, you're not a rookie anymore. You're 16 games in. That's almost your sophomore season by the time you're playing, college. So do I think he can? Part of it will be, how well does he learn to set up his blocks and use it? So, but the other way I can see this being used is a closer almost. So will he be the the fourth quarter guy? So when we're talking about splitting them, it might not just be, carry for carry. It's going to be situational too. So if you have Melvin Gordon come in and you're using 6 guys to try and chase him down and get through all your blockers and get it, then by the fourth quarter, that defense is on their heels a little bit. Then you bring in a hammer who's just absolutely attacking the line of scrimmage, and those guys are on their heels a little bit. I can see him being a primary closer, a fourth down type a fourth quarter type of back to start finishing out games. So, and he'll get more big plays. He'll get more big plays that way. And you'll look at the stats and go, well, this guy's averaging, 2.5 yards more per carry. Again, context. He's not going in the first quarter. So yes, I think they're going to split time. Yes, I think they'll split carries fairly evenly, but I can see a situation develop where Javonte Williams ends up being the closer and the primary guy in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and we got Broncos 17-0 coming in here saying, damn, in late, I wanted to show off my merch. Broncos 17-0, that's okay. You are one of our favorites because you're always so generous. So we'll flash you even without the super there. That's great. Peter Middleton coming in here also with a question. If Williams gets injured, and I'm getting a little reverb on my end from you, I don't know what's going on.
Sorry, I forgot to turn it down. Yep, that's me. I forgot to turn it down.
It's okay. If Williams gets injured, who becomes the Broncos' number 2 running back? Considering our number 3 is a special teams ace, still going to be Mike Boone. The Mike Boone, because he can do special teams work, that's going to guarantee him a roster spot. But if there is an injury, I think Mike Boone is going to be the number 2 running back, and he's really talented as well. He's one that has those measurable factors that sometimes don't matter as much for the running back, but he's a big athletic freak, which is why he's going to be good on special teams. But he would be the number 2 running back, even though he'd still be a special teams ace too. And you're hoping that it wouldn't be a serious injury so he can go back to that number 3. But I would not completely sleep on Mike Boone. He's going to be a fine running back.
Yeah, and there was a question in there about Royce Freeman. Is he pretty much on the way out, you think?
Yeah,
I think so. He's already on the way out, and I missed that part, and he's already gone.
No, he's on the way out.
Yeah, he was cut yesterday. Sorry.
No, it's okay. He'll be on his way out. I would assume he doesn't bring the special teams ability, which you need for that third running back. So I think they're keeping it. And you need bodies for training camp and preseason anyway to eat reps, to see those 4th string, 3rd string guys out there working. So he's going to be on the team still. And maybe there's an injury and somebody would trade like a conditional 7th round pick or something for him. So you're not just outright releasing him. Because he's still young. Royce Freeman, man, he started off bad for me because the Broncos were literally on the phone with Fred Warner to draft him. And he went to pick. Then, I'm getting a call from John Lynch. Sorry, John, I got to go. Hangs up. The 49ers take him the pick before. So that made me really upset because I love Fred Warner. And now Fred Warner is one of the top 3 linebackers in football.
Royce Freeman had some of the sickest running back high school tape I've ever seen. Because he was that size as a junior in high school. He was 220 pounds. He was just, an early developer.
Yeah.
He was, if you take Royce Freeman now and put him in high school, that was who you had. So it was again, a little sadistic to watch, but you'd laugh as these poor kids are trying to tackle this beast of a running back. But he didn't live up to it at Oregon either. I don't think he had quite the career that we were expecting in college as well.
I think going to Oregon really messed with him because Oregon runs such wide splits with their offensive line, and he was developed or kind of grew into this player who doesn't play to his skill set, right? Like he is a big,
and that's how he was in high school. He was a hammer. He was a wrecking ball. Don't be a scat back, be a wrecking ball.
Yep. and he's turned into this finesse player. Now, to be fair, he was looking pretty good early on in his rookie career until he suffered an ankle injury and has not been the same after that. But bummer of a pick. Sometimes it doesn't work out. That's just the reality. But it was just a 3rd round pick, right? Like, that's a valuable pick. But if you miss on a 3rd round pick, the Broncos took Bradley Chubb and Cortland Sutton in that draft too. I'm okay with those results. Broncos 17-0 coming in. Speaking of coming in and being very helpful, super sticker. I don't know what it is because we do not. I'm producing the show while co-hosting, so wearing many hats, literally. But I'm going to imagine this one is a picture of Javonte Williams winning. You're there. Are you there, Scott?
Yeah, it froze again. So I don't know what's going on today.
StreamYard's been having some issues.
Okay, I was like, yeah, I think I'm pretty good. I'm on gigabit and still attached and restart everything. So,
StreamYard's been having some issues. So
it's been, pretty solid. Can't complain too much about the quality of everything we've done here. But Dale, appreciate you coming in here on the second time. This is Dale Hendricks times 2. So Dale Hendricks XX double X there. So we appreciate it.
Yeah, and he says 50% on YouTube. Hit the like. Thank you very much, Dale. That's awesome. Man, very helpful. Guys, we're gonna get on out of here pretty soon. If you have any supers or questions, get them in because I have a guest here that flew in from Chicago last night, and we got back at like midnight. And I need coffee. I was gonna walk him to a local coffee shop before I got on off to work. So gonna wrap it up here pretty soon. But Javonte Williams, running back here. We talked a lot of Melvin Gordon. I want to get back to Javonte Williams. Odds are okay. The pathway. I want to put the service up to you. Pathway where he is a bust. What happens? What goes wrong outside of injury where Javonte Williams does not translate to the NFL? Because we're both big fans. I do not see this happening, but I'm not. I don't have a big enough ego to talk in absolutes. There's a pathway of reality where he doesn't work out. What is that? What does that look like?
What I see vision. Okay, so I see where he picks the hole and he can get it. But that to me, that's the biggest question: is he a guy that's just going to run into the back of his offensive lineman? No. But that's if it's going to go wrong, that's where it's going to be, where he doesn't let the play develop, where he hasn't quite developed enough patience. Which that's what I was saying a few minutes ago, where you get later in the game where you're running smash mouth. Just trying to blow guys over, then you can run right into the back of your offensive line and move some guys. But if there's a question, the other part of that is he didn't catch the ball a ton in college, but they didn't have to. You got Michael Carter and Javonte Williams splitting carries at 7.5 yards per carry for 2,500 yards, 2,300 yards. Why do I need to throw it to him? So how well can he be? How good can he be in the passing game? As a blocker, as a receiver, those type of things. But as purely as a running back, I'm confident he has it, but you haven't seen the vision that you do out of Melvin Gordon, and that's going to be a big one. Making sure you're not just running into the back of your OL. But I don't think that's going to be a problem. So we fully expect him to be a very, very good running back right away for the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you mentioned running into the back of the offensive line, having those tools, but just not the patience of the vision or the processing speed, my head goes to Trent Richardson, who, 3rd overall pick. Don't draft a running back that high. What are you doing? Yeah, man, that scares. That's
Speaking
I agree
of crazy running backs. He was down in Pensacola, which isn't great. You talk about Florida as being a hotbed for talent, but not all parts of Florida are created equally. So he's on the Panhandle. He had like a 400-yard game that we were at. Just crazy, because he was another one of those guys who was plenty fast, stocky, and wide. Just strong as an ox. So he was a fun one to watch too. But yeah, he didn't strike me as a number 3 type of running back. The only one I think in the past 20 years that I'd say, yeah, get him that high would be Adrian Peterson. I thought he should have been possibly the number 1 overall pick that year.
Not Saquon Barkley?
That's not bad, but Peterson's still on a different level. I mean, he's the best running back to come out in a long time. And then for me, the next guy was playoff Lenny. What from LSU?
Leonard
Fournette. Yeah, Leonard Fournette. Those are the 2 best running backs. Those are the 2 best running backs I scouted in 20 years.
I saw Saquon Barkley live under the lights at Kinnick, so I'm very biased. That dude was absolutely incredible. I've never seen a player take over a game like he did. And I know I talk crap about running backs all the time, but man, that was pretty special. We got US Dave coming in here with a question. I got one more for you, Scott, before we get on out of here. So if you guys got your questions or anything, we might keep going still. Make my friends wait. Why did CJ Anderson get dropped so fast from the league when he proved himself with the Rams in the playoffs? I always wanted to know. I have a few things here. Number one, Sean McVay, an excellent schemer. You're getting great opportunities there. So while CJ Anderson did have a good run with them, a lot of that is, and you guys know, you've heard me say it, the running game is a production of the scheme and the blocking. And both of those were very good for the Rams. Also, Scott hinted at this earlier, somewhat, talking about Javonte Williams being a fourth down back. CJ Anderson came in with fresh legs. And sometimes you see that with running backs, especially in fantasy football, where you have a running back who hasn't been doing much, and then they come in week 14 and they go on an absolute tear. It's because they don't have the wear and tear of the season. Those guys are fresh. They're ready to go, and everybody else is tired and dinged up. So that's it for CJ Anderson as well. Also, CJ was a concern for him at college, sometimes at Denver as well. And just as his career progressed, he had a somewhat difficult time keeping off the weight. He kind of put that on more and more as his career went along, and I think that was the case for him at the end. I mean, you saw him in that Rams uniform. He was talk about a little roly-poly. But a great running back, great years with Broncos, undrafted free agent. You gotta love that for the running back position. And also got older. Running backs, unfortunately, don't want to dehumanize these guys, but they're kind of like a car, a new car. Once you buy them, as soon as you roll it off the lot, the value drops by like 50%. So that's kind of how running backs are as well.
Well, a guy like that played in Atlanta from West Coast was Michael Turner. Was you know fantastic. Legs like this was really, really good, but his drop off was real quick. And how about Todd Gurley? Another West Coast guy. We want to talk about that drop off. And improved himself in the playoffs. I'd say that's a small sample size. Again, trying to do that across. Can you do it across the whole season? That's the concern when you're trying to sign a guy for the whole season. Does Scott like South Park? I'll hit this one. Charlie Beagle. I do like South Park. I do like South Park in small doses. I haven't watched it in years. It's like The Simpsons. The Simpsons was edgy when I was a junior in high school in 1990. So after a couple of years, I haven't watched it in a long time. The South Park's been out for what, 97, 98. So I don't need that much more South Park. But yeah, South Park's funny.
Yeah, good Simpsons shout out. Also want to give a shout out to Conan O'Brien, wrapping up his talk show host, his late night shows. He was a writer for The Simpsons for a while, and I was always a big Conan O'Brien fan. So sad to see that happen. Sad to see that end. One question before we get on out of here, guys. One more question for Scott. Javonte Williams back at it because we're really enjoying this rookie class, and we both liked him a lot. Entering the draft when the Broncos got him, we were both pretty excited about that, even though hashtag running backs don't matter. Tongue in cheek, guys. It's hyperbole. The path for Javonte Williams to win Rookie of the Year this year. What does that look like, and how likely is that?
It's not going to happen. There's too many quarterbacks.
All right.
It's not. There's too many quarterbacks. So what has to happen is all these rookie quarterbacks have to bust completely, which is unlikely. But it's just, who's the MVP every year? Running quarterback. It's a quarterback league, and there's a ton of rookie quarterbacks this year. So whichever one of the rookie quarterbacks has the best season, he is going to be the MVP. So,
maybe
Peter Middleton, 97. Did South Park didn't go back to 89? Not when they started anyway. So I get too distracted. But Javonte Williams, if he's talking 800 or 900 yards, which is certainly possible, he's going to be on the podium somewhere. But I fully expect a rookie quarterback to be Rookie of the Year this year.
Okay, well, that obviously leads to questions. Which one? Who am I putting my money on, Scott? And maybe I don't know if you're a gambler.
Trevor Lawrence.
Lawrence?
Yep, Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields. I think they're the ones that have the clearest pathway to starting. Trevor Lawrence is going to be a starter. Justin Fields probably will be. You look in San Francisco and all the money that they gave up, all the picks that they gave up for. I'm already forgetting names.
Trey Lance.
Yeah, for Trey Lance. I'm already moved on. I don't know that he's going to be a sure starter. Then we go over to New England. Mac Jones. I don't know if he's going to be a starter. So it's got to come down to Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence. Justin Fields probably has a better team around him than Trevor Lawrence. So let's go Justin Fields. Justin Fields, Rookie of the Year.
No Zach Wilson hype?
Oh yeah, I forgot about him. The Jets are easy to forget about. They're such a disaster of a franchise. Possible, yeah. So Handy, it's going to be one of those three because they're almost the guaranteed starters. So I'd go that direction.
Okay, well, guys, that's going to have to do it for us today. I got to get running. And also, it's the off season here, so unless the supers are pouring in, we might be doing like 45-minute shows here for a bit. But we're coming at you 2 times a week, so still having a lot of fun. I will be back with you guys. We'll both be back with you guys next Tuesday. However, a week from now, I will be off gallivanting around the Olympic Peninsula. So I don't know what if there will be a show. Scott, I think we'll have to talk about that a bit, but I will be definitely without service. So is what it is. Taking a vacation. I've taken 1 vacation day since moving out here. So it's time. But thank you guys so much for joining us today. Before we even get any further, I want to give a shout out to everybody who came in and donated and was contributors to our show, which helps keep the lights on and helps make Chad think that having a morning show is a good idea, because he wasn't sure about that at first. I actually came like, Chad, there are 24 hours in a day. We can have more shows. It's not singular pie, right? There's more to have. So you guys are really helping us prove that point. Shout out to Mohammed Badri coming in right away. King of the Super Stickers, Dale Hendricks came in twice today. Thank you so much. Travis Weber came in. Also, Travis, thank you so much. Broncos 17-0 with a very generous $20 super. And Gary Palmer with the stars, as always. So helpful. So thankful for that as well. And man, guys, Broncos for breakfast coming at you again next Tuesday, 7 o'clock. At some point, we'll probably switch over to 6 or 7 o'clock my time. I'm going to confuse you. 8 o'clock Mountain Time. Haven't had coffee yet. I need my coffee. 8 o'clock Mountain Time. Some point we'll probably switch over to 7:30 Mountain Time, but today is not that day. Follow us on Twitter, Scott at Scout Kennedy, and myself at Nick Kendall MHH. Also follow us at Mile High Huddle and at Huddle Up Pod over on Facebook. Make sure you click the thumbs up, the heart react. We have 17 over on Facebook right now. Shout out to Homero, who gave us the 1 heart. Let's get some more hearts in there. You guys love us. Come on. What's going on? But while you're over on Facebook, facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod and facebook.com/Mile High Huddle. Become a supporter. If you're joining us on YouTube today, please subscribe, like, and share. Look, do we have one coming in from Peterton here? Oh, yeah. Man, Peter, 350
little tip on the way out. Tip your waitress. Try the veal.
Thank you so much. And some people saying keep the time slot. Well, guys, we need the if you're showing us the love, it's kind of like a network TV, right? Where it's like, well, what are the ratings? Are you getting the love? And when we feel the love and we can see the love, then that gives us a much better chance to keep the show going, keep the show alive. So thank you, Peter, for coming in last second there. Appreciate everyone for joining us today. Also, if you're over on YouTube, make sure you join us on Scott's page as well. YouTube.com/C/Scott Kennedy. I'm going to drop the auto sub in here as well. Just click that link right there. It'll take you to Scott's page. And some of you guys itching for some soccer talk, Scott's going to do that tomorrow.
Yeah, let's do it tomorrow. Same time, 10 a.m. Eastern, 8 Mountain, 7 Pacific. We'll start talking some Euros, and we can throw in some paper talk there as well. You know, Jadon Sancho to Manchester United, huge. Anybody that wants to slam Willian, I can talk him for days. So that's just always a favorite subject of mine. And then we can talk favorites and all these type of things. So I'd be happy to talk soccer right up until kickoff at noon Eastern. So let's subscribe to my page, get the alert, and we'll do it tomorrow.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for everybody for joining us for another episode of Broncos for Breakfast. Stay safe and go Broncos.